Welcome to the Four Brewers Podcast. My name is John Holzer, and as always, I am joined by
Jason Harris.
Greg Nagel.
All right, lively today, guys. I like it.
Bring the noise.
Today on the show, we are continuing our journey through the alphabet of breweries and beers and drinking beers. I think we all actually have breweries whose names start with the letters S, T, and U, which for me was a bit of a challenge finding a U beer. And after looking at our list here, so many just slipped my mind, like Urban Roots. Greg got Urban Roots as well.
Unsung. There's
Unsung is another one I don't have access to, but yeah. I think if you're opening a new brewery in the future, open a brewery with, letters of the alphabet that are uncommon. Just because why not?
Q,
when we do this show again, we have more options.
It'd really help us out on this concept where we recycle it in 2 years.
Before we start the show, though, I want to give a shout out to our newest supporter on Patreon, Drew Nunez, at the $3 level. I don't know if Drew is related to Alex Nunez, and it's not, just so I'm clarifying here, not Nunez. There's no, as far as I know, it's just Nunes. So I'm assuming it's just Nunez. And they have similar last names. I don't know if it's the same person, or kind of like how Andy on The Office wants to go by Drew when he gets back from anger management training. I don't know if it's the same person or not, but if it is, thanks. If it's not, thanks. Either way. Again, you can go to supporttheshitoutofit.com. You can give us your money, and you can get the glassware that I am shipping out starting this week. I already got one to Kyle from the chat, who actually I met up with his mom yesterday, which sounds odd to say.
Hey, Patreon supporters, I met your mom yesterday.
He hit me up, and apparently a new beer from Modern Times came out that I didn't hear anything about. What was the name of that beer? It was Best Ghost, I guess. Kind of like West Coast, but Best Ghost. Some kind of IPA in Bombers of all things. Like, that was unusual to see. But he hit me up. I was out shopping with Yvonne, doing grocery shopping and stuff, and I didn't respond until like a half hour after he sent me a text. And I was like, "Nah, it's cool, man. Don't worry about it." And I figured I was late. He's like, "Well, my mom's already on the way. She had to go to her friend's house in Moreno Valley, like literally 5 minutes from my house."
Mom mules.
I was like, "Okay." So I drove up, and his mom was parked in the driveway, and she drives a truck. And the bag full of beer was sitting on the tailgate, so as to be like a beacon for me, like the beer guy. I'm like, oh, that's got to be her, because it's just a bag full of beer waiting for me. And sure enough, it was her. So shout out to Kyle and his mom Sheila for delivering the beer. That was awesome.
She's quite a Sheila.
I'll get you guys a bottle.
Grade A mom meals.
I wonder if we're going to see more bombers coming out, because I keep hearing about this like can shortage, but it doesn't really seem to affect local breweries here. But
yeah,
I mean, you never know if Modern Times is doing.
I think it was early on in the pandemic or whatever. All of a sudden, the can demand went up, and then they adjusted, and it was fine.
I don't know if that's necessarily the case, because I thought it was more of a long-term shortage. But I could be wrong as well. Like, I'm not up on the news for the supply chain for
you keep hearing about
stuff.
So my understanding was, overnight everybody shipped from keg sales to package sales, and so can demand went up like astronomically. I mean,
like
it's been taking that long to be like,
for a while.
We're going to make some more cans next quarter.
Yeah.
Like they just got to buy more aluminum.
It's crazy how pretty much everything is in cans. Like, I think canned beer is 95% of what I purchase. There's still places like Lagunitas who still put stuff in bottles, just because, I mean, I'm sure their bottling lines are just gigantic, and if they have it, why not use it? But that's, I'd say maybe once a month or maybe twice, I don't know, I'll buy a 6-pack of bottles of something. But the last time I bought a bomber, I don't. Unless, I mean, my memory's pretty bad, but
bottles fit like shit in my beer cooler. Like, I have a fridge here. Bottles generally I'll have to lay down to fit them in there.
Well, they're twice as tall, right? They take up the same vertical height as 2 cans.
Yeah, like a 16-ounce can fits into a space shorter than a 12-ounce bottle.
Yeah,
and so it's just a better format all around. Like, outside of being able to hit my enemies in the head with it, the bottle doesn't offer many advantages over the can.
A brewery that I wanted to pick up today, which would have worked with T, even though their name starts with numbers, 21st Amendment Brewery. Their 21st anniversary, I think, was last weekend, and they put out a 21st anniversary beer, but I don't know if it made it down to Southern California. But I remember back when they switched, or they didn't switch, they started with cans. Like, they were just a can brewery right out the gate. And it was, God, this was 11, 12 years ago. Well, I don't know. Is it? Wow. It's 10, 11 years ago. It was just odd seeing craft beer in a can because cans were for macro breweries. That's what the big breweries used because it was
that's
cheap
the thing,
beer,
I think people finally realized that the perception of bottles as fancy was all just complete gobbledygook.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it was also like, I think it's cheaper to package in bottles as well. I could be wrong about that. Maybe things have changed since cans have become more of a commodity, but it just seemed like bottles were like they were trustworthy, like they were going to make it in a truck from one place to another. Not that cans aren't, but at the time, I think canning was more expensive, and so it was just the thing to do.
I was like, bottles. The transit thing is actually one of the biggest disadvantages of bottles. They break.
That's true, yeah. But they're still pretty stout for what they are. Like it kind of takes a lot to break a bottle in transit, I think. Anyway, we're getting off.
Exact opposite, man. You can put cans just in a cardboard box and ship it to somebody, and it generally is fine. Yeah. Do that with a bottle, and you will not have you will have a box of liquid at the end. Liquid and shards.
It's happened to me. So first up is the letter S.
S is for sucks.
Jason, what are you starting with?
Oh no.
I'll start.
I've got a Smog City Little Bo Pills. Okay, fun fact. It was like a month ago that I saw somebody else had a beer and it was called like a Bo Pills Bohemian Pilsner. I'm like, oh, that's what the Bo stands for. Did not occur to me till just like a month ago. Yes.
That's funny. I knew that.
Bo Pills. And then this Little Bo Peep.
I mean, I get it. I get it now.
It all came together a month ago for Jason. He had an epiphany. A realization.
Greg, I got this at Total Wine, but it'll probably be fine even though it's old. No, it's only from May, actually.
That's not too bad.
I picked me up some Stereo Pills. Stereo. This is the first time I've seen it canned and on sale at the store. That's a pretty dope 70s looking hi-fi
definitely sort of in their wheelhouse as far as the theming goes. Stereo out of Placentia, California, by the way.
Right. 5.5%, and I've been drinking it all weekend, and it's fabulous. So I look forward to talking about it.
I picked up a beer from brewery San Diego, Society. This is actually a beer that I have been wanting to get my hands on for a while, just because of the novelty of it, and I'm sure it's a great beer too. This is Society Light Beer. You can almost call it Society Light. I mean, when was it that what was his name when he left Society? One of the co-owners.
Mike Sardina?
No, not Mike. Owners of the company.
Tyler?
No. Who are you thinking of, Greg?
The guy, he has a beard, and what's his
name? That brewery guy with a beard.
Yeah, I forgot his name. I feel bad for forgetting his name, but he all but disappeared. Like he just went off to work at some
Arizona or something, right?
Yeah, he's doing his own thing, or I think he's working somewhere, not necessarily doing his own thing. Anyway, when he left, their whole, I guess, not business plan, but their whole outlook on beer and their the way they thought about beer before was they wanted to handcraft beers, make it something very, very special, and almost something that was hard to access and exclusive to just locals kind of thing. And I think they were packaging before he left, maybe in bottles. I could be wrong. But
I remember their first packaged beer, and they packaged a couple of wild beers. but they had told us that they did not plan for the foreseeable future to ever package any of their hoppy beer. That they wanted that to be draft only.
Right. Yeah, I was there on their grand opening, and Doug Constantine, or one of the owners, was like, "We will never package an IPA because once you put it in a can, it's gonna completely explode." I don't know. I was like, "All right, dude, I drink tons of IPA in the can. It's delicious." So I don't know. Okay.
We went there for New Brew Thursday. It was actually our last on location show. And that actually Mike Sardina, when he was still in Southern California, he hooked us up with that show. But it was the same thing. They gave us a tour of everything. Like, man, you got this dope, brew house, this big, barrel cold box thing that's temperature controlled. Like, this is amazing. But you're not going to package anything? And nope. We're not, if we do, it's going to be special beers, and I'm just like, that just seems like it's not going to work to me. So all these years later, long story short, the way they are doing things is more normal now. They're packaging beer. They package a lot of their canned beer. They're packaging their hoppy beer, which is totally fine. Like, it doesn't have to be draft only. I see why they would want to do that, because they have complete control, like almost literally, over the beer. Once it's in a keg, they know who's getting those kegs. They can send them to accounts that are properly, making sure their lines are clean, keeping the kegs cold, kind of like the Russian River approach with Pliny the Elder, but it gets to a point where it's like, how sustainable is that? And so all these years later, we have Society Light Beer. And
there's a reason there's only one Russian River, really. Like, there's barely any breweries that have that level of control and that on their distribution. And it's hard. It's hard. The market doesn't have room for a bunch of those. They're just like, fuck it. The AB guys got 8 IPAs, so give me, and they don't worry about my fucking lines.
Yeah. So his name is Travis Smith. I was close. I was Tyler something. Travis. Yeah, Travis Smith. But at Windsor, there was 2 Society IPAs I could have bought, and I passed them over to get something else. But I'll be back to get those because they look delicious.
Like I said, I got this one because of the novelty of it. I love the art on this, even though it's very basic. It looks really cool. Even the label they use on the can, it's like a matte finish. You can kind of, rub your feet. It feels good to hold the can.
Yeah, it looks like it's like a Lone Star thing. It's got a star on the bottom, like light beer.
Oh, yeah, I see that, yeah.
Honestly, it looks like a bag of flour from the 80s.
Totally. It's like white label flour.
It's all like kind of this off-white color with like a red stripe across the bottom and like big blue labels. Like, I could just see it saying like wheat flour.
It's very generic looking, I guess, is what you're going for.
Yeah.
I like it. I dig it. And the beer is obviously great. It's only 4.5% alcohol by volume. So this is definitely, since I can get this at, I got this at Bevmo, I believe. But there's a Bevmo right across the parking lot from the Sprouts I go to. So this is something I'm going to definitely buy on the regular, because it's fantastic. And it's just it's what you think it is. It's a really tasty lager. Nothing too hoppy, nothing too bitter. It's very well balanced. It's what you think it would be for something that says light beer.
My only regret is when I was forgetting which part of the alphabet we were doing, and I was at the goods store. They had a Society can that I hadn't seen. They had the Bachelor, and the label was like, the like cheaper labels, the ones that are just a roll of a sticker. Yeah, like kind of the stuff you'd see on a Crowler. It looks
like a Crowler. Yeah,
it looked much more like a limited run beer, and I was like, oh, that'd be a good one, but we already did S, and so I didn't get it. I got V and W though. I knew W was early, but preview Wayfinder did a 4-pack of 19-ounce malt liquor cans that are a collaboration with the band Red Fang. It's just called Red Fang. And I'm like, fuck yeah, this is going to rule. So I'm excited for that on the W show.
I can see how you'd get confused with because when you say the alphabet, we've talked about this before, you go A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then LMNOP kind of thing, Q, R, S, T, U, V. Like, you just have those natural pauses from when you learn the alphabet as a kid kind of thing. And you don't think of it as like P, Q, R, S, T, U, VWX. Like I have to kind of go through the alphabet again and go, okay, what comes next? And I sing the alphabet back to myself.
Are we going to do a
Twinkle Twinkle Little Star?
Are we going to do a next time won't you sing with me show?
All band collabs.
So Greg, how's the stereo pills?
Man, this is when you think of stereo, like I think of like extremely dry. They have a really dry house character, and this beer sort of fights against that a little bit. It's got a nice balanced Pilsner base. It's kind of like reminds me a little bit of peanut brittle in a way, with not a lot of peanuts.
I know what you mean. I sometimes get like a peanutty character from Pilsners. Mm-hmm. That's funny you say, like a peanut butter.
Yeah, peanut brittle.
Yeah,
specifically. It's not sweet or anything like that, but it's just a nice, pleasant peanut brittle-y thing with a lot of noble hop character on it, and it's extremely crisp. It's got no faults whatsoever. Like you just want to keep drinking them all weekend because it's such a good beer.
What do you think that peanut flavor is? Is that like a yeast character?
I have no idea what you guys are talking to.
You've never experienced that?
Peanut flavor, no.
Yeah, it's a weird thing on like Pilsners and sometimes on a lager. Like it comes off just nutty a little bit. I don't know what it is. And sometimes I think, is that a flaw? But I don't know of any nut off flavors. Like, that sounded weird. I don't know any off flavors that come off like nuts.
It's a big
nut. But yeah, I do get that. That's funny. You've never experienced that, Jason.
I've never experienced it either, at least in this form. I was like, wow, this is really peanut brittle-y and in such a good way. It's not like if you gave it to somebody, like they would never probably pick that out. It's just my brain going, what does this beer equate to in like candy form? Which my brain often just
flavors
goes to.
It's one of those flavors too that once you acclimate to it, it kind of disappears. And
right.
But you open a Pilsner or a lager and you get this kind of nutty flavor, and it's kind of off-putting at first, where it's like, oh, I didn't expect that, and then it just kind of fades away.
Yeah, at first it was like honeysuckle, very honey forward on the nose.
Honeysuckle,
really nice honeysuckle with some floral notes from whatever hops they're using. I don't know any information on the beer as far as what I assume he's just using straight Saaz or something like that, or an American variant, but really well done pills.
Right on.
On a very related note, this is all Czech Saaz. It is very noble hoppy, super crushable. I've already drank most of it.
Yep. I'm already almost all the way through the can.
I like that we all got like an S beer that's like a basically a lager. That's pretty cool how that worked out.
Yeah, just a really good mouthfeel on this beer. It's got a nice little hop bite on the end, but nothing crazy. Just enough to let you know that you had some hops, but the malt, the malt character is there. And like I said, just really pillowy the way this beer feels in your mouth, which I think is a subtle quality that makes it stand out from a lot of similar beers. But it's
what's the name of the beer again?
Little Bo Pills.
Oh, that's right.
From Smog City.
Man, that's such a good beer. Talk about a brewery that used to bottle everything when they first they bought this huge fuck off bottling line.
I remember when they showed it to us.
You could suck the air out and then you can fill it with CO2 and counter pressure fill it. And you can't do that with cans. And then here you are drinking a can of it.
Yeah. I think also some of those, there were some sort of technical challenges with cans that were sorted out. Like some of the early breweries getting into cans kind of had some struggles with it. And it seems like they've largely, the technology has advanced to where they're not worrying about like oxygen in the cans. I remember dissolved oxygen being higher was a big problem for a while. And it seems like they've kind of reined that in. Yeah.
I can't remember the last time I had a beer that had oxygen problems because it was in a can compared to the bottle version. The last brewery I can think of is El Segundo when they transferred over to cans, but that was that was at least a year or two ago.
Kern had some problems first right off, but yeah, it was a long time ago.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was sad with Kern. That was like more than like one of their beers too. It was
that's rough.
It lasted for a while. That sucked.
A rough period.
How was your light
for Kern River Brewing?
Going back to my beer, I mean, it's what it says on the can. It's an excellent, very crushable, super light pills. I'm pretty much, I'm already done with it pretty much.
Was it a
It's
pills?
fantastic.
It's just a
lager.
light American
I'm sorry,
lager.
it's a lager. Yeah, I had pills on the brain because you guys are drinking pills.
Pills on the brain. That's a good name for a beer.
But yeah, it's great. And again, this can, it's one of my faves. I'm gonna probably save this can. I save certain cans because I like the labels, and I think I'm gonna keep that one. So,
nice.
Moving on to the letter T. Let's see. Greg and I both have beers from Topa Topa, which is pretty cool. And Jason, where's your T beer from?
My T beer is from Denver, Colorado. It is true.
Is that true?
True.
Girl, you know it's true.
The label on this is pretty awesome. It looks like one of those old school. What brand is that? Ross?
Boss.
Boss, yeah.
Boss,
guitar pedals. It's called Cursed.
Nice.
Yeah, I saw that beer at Gerard's a couple months back, and I was like, this is an awesome label. It looks like a Boss Metal Zone pedal, pretty much. Maybe not Metal Zone, just a generic Boss pedal with the 4 knobs on the top. So,
but it is a mixed culture sour pale ale, 4.4% ABV, and I'm kind of excited to try it. I've had a lot of really good beer from these guys, but I never had this one. So.
Yeah, True never fails to disappoint, and I'm glad we can get them easily in SoCal. They're a brewery I thought we'd never see because they're so tiny. But
I think you accidentally double negated yourself into mocking them.
I did.
You said they never failed to disappoint.
They never failed to disappoint.
So they consistently disappoint would be what you're saying there.
Is that right? How's
Not
that
to be your English
in my brain
here. They never disappoint, or they never fail.
Got it. You're
but
right.
If they never fail to disappoint. That means they always.
You know what I'm saying. God,
they're always disappointing you.
Thank you for correcting me, Jason. They never disappoint.
Oh dear God!
They never fail.
They fail to disappoint me. How about that?
Oh, dudes.
Greg, what are you drinking?
Just deleted myself from the stream. I am drinking some Topa Topa, the 50cc, an Italian style Pilsner, which is it's a 50cc, like it's an Italian moped.
It's a little Vespa.
Ciao.
Ciao.
That's fantastic. I love it.
So this True beer is looking like a pale ale that got clouded up. It's got a little bit of sediment in there. I think it's bottle conditioned, but nothing crazy. Not like less than your average hazy pale ale these days.
Man, Garrett Oliver would comment on the size of those bubbles, I'm sure.
I swear to God, he would.
They're craft bubbles.
It's got the tiny little tight bubbles, so you can tell it's a high quality beer. Fuck you, Garrett Oliver.
No, don't say it. No, it makes sense. I defend Garrett Oliver. I know what he's going for with
that guy walks around with a slice of cheese in his pocket.
Sourdough versus
and God bless him for it. God damn it, Jason.
I was at the store and I bought this cheese. This is not real cheese.
I've seen him do that talk like 3 times now. It's always amazing.
He just buys a whole thing of craft singles. He throws all of them away but the one, and then he just carries it around in his pocket so he can make his little thing in his speech.
I think he would gift the rest of the packet to some homeless guy, like outside of a 7-Eleven.
All right.
And then take the one slice.
He flops the cheese slices on his enemy's windshield. Like
he just flings them at like flocks of seagulls.
That's funny.
This beer is super good. It's kind of what it says on the tin. It's got that perfect mixed culture, little bit of funk, little bit of tartness, not too sour, not an acid bomb, not just over the top Brett funk, just a nice mix of that. A little hop character to give it kind of there's a weird character hops take on when they're in a sour beer, where it gives it just kind of this greenness rather than an actual like aroma and hop presence. But super drinkable, really hitting spot, really good beer.
Yeah, I haven't mentioned my beer yet, but I also have a beer from Topa Topa. This beer is called Chief Peak IPA. And I don't have details on this loaded up, but if I go to Untapped, I can check it out real quick. Again, this is a beer that I picked up at Sprouts, which was good to see. Topa Topa, former Stone Brewing Company alumni, I believe, or that's not proper either. They are Stone Brewing alumni, formerly from Stone Brewing Company. And this is their flagship beer, which I did not know. So thank you, Untapped.
Wow.
And
Cool.
they don't have any details on the hops, just a bunch of, wow, this is very fluffy on the description. The pine hops are first to arrive. The tropical tones of passion fruit, orange, and gooseberry aren't far behind. Look out on the valley and trace the contours of the mountain. Breathe in the thinning air, wipe the sweat from your brow, and take another well-earned sip. All right.
There's a typo in there's a typo, not to be fucking full English teacher, but there's a typo in the Untapped that just says it's a craft beer interpretation of the historical English style brewed using American ingredients and aggressive hoping.
Oh, should that be two
P's? Please be a good beer.
No, they're just like, they just pour in American ingredients and they're like, oh, come on, we need this.
Please be a good beer. Please.
This has got to work out. It's a 45th batch in a row.
So trip out on mine is it uses Italian malt. And it definitely, you can taste the difference. There's a weird maltiness to it. And French malt, French hops, German Saphir, and Czech Saaz. So it's got a full Euro tri blend of hops in it.
I feel like an Italian malt would be like, as a kid, you go to like a weird restaurant and like you get like what you think is a milkshake, but they actually serve you like an Italian malt, so it tastes like bitter lemon for no reason.
Like, come on.
Oh, it's not the milkshake; it's an Italian malt.
It's such a cool beer. It's got this like weird Pilsner. It's a Pilsner, but it's got this grapey, like Concord grape or like Italian grape big character popping off on the nose. It's really interesting.
Jason, I changed that description for you there on Untapped, so we're good to go now.
No,
aggressive hopping.
Aggressive hoping.
Please.
The impression I get from their description is that it's going to be, because they mention it being an American interpretation of an English style, which kind of makes me think it's going to be more of your old school style IPA.
It definitely is. I mean, it's got some fruity notes. I get a little bit of like a mint character on the flavor.
Always a good character.
It a little bit of a fruity thing happening, mostly like a grassy, piney kind of character. It definitely is not on the dry side for an IPA. It's got definitely some more malty tones coming through. Nothing I'd call like a Northwest type of vibe, but it's good for being 7%. It's a very, I think I'd say it's a very hearty IPA. It's got, it's not just one dimensional where it's like dry, no malt character, super fruity hops, and you're done. It's pretty good.
I think and spoiler alert, I went through a 6-pack of that like 2 weeks ago. So
okay, perfect.
I've had it recently. Yeah, that particular one. So to me, it's very reminiscent. With, like I said, I'm pretty sure they had a lineage back to Stone Brewing, and it reminds me a lot of a kind of an old school Stone IPA.
Oh, I could see that. Yeah,
it's more in that vein, more of your kind of classic West Coast.
Actually, if I think Stone IPA, it does have vibes of Stone IPA. Not as, I'd say, not as bitter, not as like aggressively hopped, but definitely more of a balanced approach to an IPA. Because I think Stone IPA is, I mean, aside from it being a little more on the bitter side, it's a pretty balanced IPA. There's not really a whole lot going on as far as like something you get that's made with Nelson or Mosaic. It's pretty, well-rounded as far as an IPA goes. And I think, yeah, you're right. This is in that same vein. It's good. It's very well made. Like, I would buy this again. No problem.
Dude, Italian Pils is my jam. And a funny story. I was watching Twitch the other day, and it popped up with like a suggested Twitch stream. It was an IRL, somebody traveling through Italy. And so I tuned in. There was like 9,000 people watching. I was like, all right. It was just on while I was doing something else. I'm like, where do I know this person from? It was a girl, brunette hair. I'm like, how do I fucking know this person? Like, I know I've seen this person before. I have no idea. When her name was Sasha Grey.
Uh-oh.
And I was like,
really?
No,
Sasha Grey was doing a live.
So it was super informative. She's very, very endearing and very knowledgeable. She speaks somewhat Italian and sort of knows everything that's going on around Italy. And I was like, wow, this is a cool stream to watch. I'm like, who? And I Wikipedia'd her, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah. Now I know who Sasha Grey is again.
Is it bad that I immediately know who she is?
I mean, she's ultimately. I mean, she was famous, so I don't see any problem with it. But it was just it's like, if you follow Sasha Grey on Twitch, she's actually a pretty good IRL streamer.
That's cool.
And this is a great beer. I'm not a huge Topa Topa guy until this beer. Like, I mean, we see them. There's other beers on the shelf, and it's just one of those breweries that I haven't really picked up much. But just based on this, I'm like, dude, I need to go buy more of this beer specifically. But
they had 3 offerings at Sprouts. They had this. They had one other IPA, which I don't remember the name of, and then, oh man, I want to say it was like a wheat beer or something. I don't know. But the fact that they had, what seems like their 3 flagship or, their 3 staples, for sale at a Sprouts in, Moreno Valley or Riverside, that's pretty cool. Because I don't think Topa Topa is that big.
Where are they?
In Ventura?
Like Ventura?
Yeah.
I know. Radiant just did a collab with them. They did a beer that's like a black Kolsch, a black hoppy Kolsch.
Yeah, I want to pick that up too. That seems weird.
It sounds fun. If you're stopping in Ventura, Made West and Topa Topa are 2 really, really quality stops.
Right on.
Also, Topa Topa is like walking distance from a good pizza place. I forget the name, but I remember the pizza being good.
That beer they did with Topa Topa, it's called Am I Even Kolsch? And it's it looks to be like a dark Kolsch. They call it a double dry hop, a DDH hoppy dark lager-ish ale.
Double dry hop black Kolsch with lactose.
It has lactose in it?
I don't know.
No. Okay.
When they show up to the brewery and they spin the wheel of like collab ideas, like, all right, it's a Kolsch. All right, spin it again. It's going to be black. And spin it again. It's going to be almost a sour beer. No, it's going to be double dry hopped. Okay, done.
A dark Kolsch. Have we ever had a dark? I don't think I've ever had a dark Kolsch.
It doesn't exist.
No.
It's probably the only one ever existed.
That's weird.
You don't generally have dark Kolsches.
Kind of defeats the purpose, I think.
People in Germany would be having a fit over it.
It's like a dark light.
No, it's not a Kolsch.
It's like a black IPA, right? I'm sorry, Cascadian Dark Ale.
Cascadian, yeah, exactly.
There's one guy in Portland listening who's like, "Thank you."
A citricato version of it.
Overall, man, this true beer is super fucking drinkable. This is exactly what I want in a wild beer. Just something with a nice flavor, not a huge punch in your palate, super drinkable. Just the complexities there where every time you're taking a sip, you're getting something different out of it. Really fucking well done. And again, I'm almost finishing it already.
So it's would you say it's a mix of hops and funky like Brett, or is it more on the sour side? Like what's the
more on the sour side? Like the hoppiness doesn't really shine through. It's kind of a background note. But the tartness and the funkiness, this is a yeast. This is showing off the culture really more than anything. Like this is very reminiscent. If you like DeGard, you would like this.
DeGard's good.
Yep.
True.
I looked at a DeGard beer in my cellar today called Merci. But they're D. They're not you.
Merci buckets.
Speaking of you, let's move on to our you beers. Greg, what are you drinking that starts with you?
Oh, this was exciting. This is exciting. This is a CCBA Brewers collab with Urban Roots, and it's a red ale.
Oh,
and you know how I love red ales, and you know how I love Urban Roots and the CCBA. It seemed like a good choice of a beverage.
It's just winning all the way around,
right?
Urban Roots, man, they make great beer, especially like the hoppy stuff. Oh my god,
Urban Roots is worth a drive from Orange County just to go out for a weekend and go hang out at Urban Roots.
Mm-hmm.
They're very much, I mean, I would say very reminiscent of Beechwood, right? For the SoCal people, Urban Roots, because they're I'm not fucking mixing
them
up.
Barbecue,
right? Barbecue place, yeah. So really good barbecue, really good beer list. They're right in the kind of middle of downtown Sacramento. Really cool spot. And I would honestly put their quality on par with Beechwood as well, which if you listen to this show, you know that's really high praise.
Yeah,
we were staying in downtown Sacramento for the CCBA, and we
best
walked
Airbnb
there.
ever.
Yeah. Oh god, yeah, it was that. Yeah.
Pooping with your head against the wall.
Yeah, but they were within walking distance of like the actual downtown metropolitan area of Sacramento.
So I have 2 U beers, and there was one of them that is Urban Roots, so you know it's going to be good. Okay. I'm going to save that one for next because I got a wild card.
Oh,
all right. I'm excited. What do you got?
I've got Untitled Art.
Oh yeah, that could be a
apricot cream imperial seltzer.
Ooh. Imperial seltzer. What's the ABV on that?
Does it say? 9. Fuck. 9.
Spoken like a true German.
It also has like a full nutrition label. So apparently it's 300 calories.
It's a food product, yeah.
Well, no other beer has a fucking nutrition label, Craig.
Because it's a food product.
There's no alcohol in this one.
Yeah. How is a seltzer a food product and a beer is
not? Because it's got peach and shit.
Apricot puree, cara orange puree, lime juice concentrate,
all that puree,
sorbate, natural flavors.
I mean, beers also have that style.
Is it a malt beverage or is it just added booze and?
It says alcohol from sugar.
Okay, so it's a beer malt-ish product.
I don't know, 9%, but it's also got a ton of sugar in it. So let's see what this tastes like.
I hope you don't die, Jason.
It's kind of milky looking.
Wow, that looks gross.
It's a little bit less milky looking. It looks kind of like a dull
flat hazy IPA.
It looks like a dull orange juice in real life. It's not as gray looking as it does on camera.
But
it just looks like orange juice that isn't as orange.
Are seltzers usually like carbonated at a higher level?
Not really.
They just like same as beer. I don't know.
Dang, man.
I'm just waiting to see Jason's reaction to this.
Tastes like fruit juice and booze.
Doesn't look good.
I would spit it.
It's like marshmallows and apricot is really big with a big marshmallow flavor. It just feels like the topping that would go on like a pie or something like that. It's just it's so much.
And a whole I don't think it just sounds like you couldn't finish a can of that. Like
like it wasn't a bad taste, but it's just like, man, that's a lot.
It's like a bottle share hero for seltzer.
For a beverage, that's a lot. It's like
if you just had your jaw wired shut and you're like, I really want some pie.
Fucking need
and I really want to get drunk too. And
it's like an apricot. Like apricot pie a la mode is really kind of what you're getting there. Like vanilla
get pie drunk.
Apricot. I'm getting pie drunk.
Jason, it doesn't sound good. I probably will not buy that. I don't think aside from when we've done seltzers on the show, I have never bought seltzer to drink at all. I'd rather buy beer.
Seltzers are pretty good.
I'm not saying they're bad. I just rather buy beer. That's all.
Dude, I don't know. This is for you people listening on the podcast. You probably can't see this, but my Urban Roots beer. I'll describe it for you. When they talk about lacing, this is like lacing porn. There's
that's like fishnets on your glass, dude.
It's like fishnets. Yeah, absolutely. As far as it being a red ale, it's more on like the deep amber orange side. I wouldn't even say it's a red.
Yeah, to my eye, it looks like your wall.
Yeah, I mean that's unfortunate.
Orange, like burnt.
There's a
burnt
good highlight
umber,
you can see.
I guess you could say
that highlight is very accurate, according to the stream. It's very deep gold.
Okay,
but damn that lacing, Jesus Christ!
So is it coming off like a red light, like a light red ale, or is it
this is up and in your face for a red, dude? It's got big piney vibes. It's like a pine tree and a raspberry jelly donut in the best way possible.
Okay, I can put those together.
It's like you're eating a jelly donut next to a pine tree
while you're camping or something.
Yeah,
I can see that.
It's as you would. You're like, I brought only the most necessary supplies for survival out here, hun. I got this jelly donut. I got a bear claw. A couple cinnamon rolls.
That's right.
Do you have any like a stove or any food? Yeah, I got a bear claw. Got a couple cinnamon rolls.
Jason, I'm assuming you're moving on to your Urban Roots beer from the seltzer.
Yeah, I'm not gonna finish that beer. It was fine.
Please don't.
It's like pie. I don't want to eat a whole pie.
Untitled Art, I am not surprised that came from them, because their stuff tends to be very extreme when it comes to flavors and wacky beers. I kind of avoid them because it's always going to be a lot, and I'm not surprised one bit that they made a seltzer the same way.
But in showing how out of touch we are, 4.11 on Untapped with 1,200 ratings.
Jesus Christ.
Okay,
fine. I mean, just take this can of peach puree, add a bottle of Everclear to it, and just chug.
What are you doing with that can of peach puree?
I was going to make a mead with it.
Okay.
I'm making some a melamel, if you will.
A melanoma?
A melamel. It's a peach mead, or it's a fruited mead. It's called a melamel.
Oh man.
What kind of honey were you going to use?
I have wildflower and some apple flower.
Apple honey mead.
The apple mead had to be like really expensive considering it came from Apple. Like,
I got it. I was down in Julian.
What they do is they wait and they see what all the other honeys are doing, and then they figure out like, all right, we think we can put like a real refined take on this honey, and that's why it's worth a premium price.
There you go. Raw apple honey, baby. Behold,
they do lock
good,
you
and how
in
pleasant it is to brethren to dwell together in unity. Psalms 133:1.
Oh.
W.H. Slaughter and Son.
No, I feel like if you're trying to get some like authentic off a farm honey, like having a Bible quote on it like really adds to the like authenticity.
Yeah,
you feel like you paid for an authentic product, you know.
You got to have the Bible quote on there, otherwise it's like, what even is honey?
Moving on to my U beer. This is a beer, again, I had trouble finding a U beer in the store, and not, you know, let me stop that. Let me go back to, because Jason, we talked about your beer but never actually mentioned what you're drinking, so
it's okay.
So Jason, do you want me to wait?
That's fine.
What do you want to do?
You can intro mine.
So Jason, again, going back to your second U beer from Urban Roots, actually, what did you open?
So I bought a beer that I knew was good. So 12 degrees from Urban Roots. And if I remember,
I didn't know that at 12 degrees.
I could swear we did this on the show.
I did 10 degrees a couple months ago.
So these degrees references are based off of the Belgian numbers, correct?
It's Czech, I believe, and it's the
Czech?
degrees Plato.
Okay, it's Czech. All right.
And yeah, good point, Greg. We actually had 10 Degrees, which is a Czech Pils. So actually, I thought this was that. So maybe I played myself.
I've never had the 12 Degrees.
It's also a Czech Pilsner, but it's 5%, where the other one was 3.9. The 10 Degrees is 3.9.
Really?
Yeah, and this is 5. So,
dude, I would have.
I mean, again, the degrees are just 3.9. The degrees Plato, right? So, some brewer can is yelling at us like, "That's actually not it."
Yeah, on Untapped it says it's a special limited release Czech style lager that was inspired by 10 Degrees, slightly higher in ABV with a more robust flavor profile, yet still light, clean, and super refreshing. So
I can't even believe 10 Degrees is 3.9% because that beer is just fucking awesome. It doesn't taste like it's a light beer at all.
Dude, and for what it's worth, this beer is rocking a 4.07 on Untapped, which is an all-time high for a lager.
Right? Lagers are back, baby.
So this has a good aroma. The hop character is there. Actually, I would expect it to be a little bit more pronounced on a Czech Pils, but this one's not too hoppy. You're getting a lot of that bready aroma, that that bready biscuit kind of malt character coming in the nose.
Hello, bready biscuit.
Hello, bready biscuit. And it tastes just like it smells. Just a lot of malt character, very, very bready, feels very good in your mouth. Like you're having it definitely fits that liquid bread kind of feel.
Yep.
With just kind of a mild hop character on the back that lingers on your palate and lets you remember that you just drank a beer, but isn't too bitter, isn't too aggressive. I would say less bitter than the Little Bo Pils was.
Okay.
Just super drinkable.
Dude, can we talk about Urban Roots as far as like their commitment to brewing odd beers of style, like classic beers? There's not a lot of breweries out there that do like a red ale. And I had a Baltic Porter from them on the show maybe 2 or 3 months ago. That was just banger.
Yeah.
And here we go with the Czech Pils. And they're just one of those breweries that just seems to nail these classic styles. And just got to go check them out, man.
Yeah, super, super good. I can't recommend them enough. And it was a really cool spot too. So if you're in town or if it's getting distro, check Urban Roots out.
No pun
Moving
intended.
on to my U beer. Like I said earlier, I had trouble finding a U beer in the store, even though there's, I don't know, quite a few-ish breweries that their names start with U, like we talked about earlier. But I went to Sprouts and Bevmo, and there were no U beers there at all. So I thought at least they'd have like Unibrew at
right
Bevmo, but they didn't even have
La
that.
Fin du Monde.
Yeah, nothing. So I went into my cellar and I found a U beer, and this is a beer from Upright Brewing.
What?
It doesn't have a name on it. It has a drawing of the band The Clash.
I was like, is that the Clash?
Yeah.
It looks. I was like, damn, yeah.
And so pretty good drawing. I was like, pretty sure. Definitely The Clash.
There's Joe Strummer. There's Joe Walsh. Yeah.
Yeah. And all I found about this beer was on a post on the Full Pint. It was kind of like a press release thing. The beer came out on September 24th, 2010. And that's what this bottle is from, 2010. And on Untapped, it says it's a lager, which it might be. But Upright tends to be kind of a farmhousey, kind of funky brewery. So I don't know exactly what to expect from this beer. Looking at the post on the Full Pint, it says that Upright specializes in farmhouse-inspired brews, which are historically working man's beers. So in the vein of the punk rock warlords who wrote and played music for the poor and disenfranchised, they have decided to leave this brew both nameless and styleless and open to the interpretation of the thinking man's yobs. So that explains why there's really nothing on the bottle describing what it is. I really wish I could have tried this beer fresh.
What's funny is because of that, on Untapped, it has 21 total check-ins. And There was one this year, and the last one before that was 2018, and the one before that was 2014.
Yeah.
So you're really blazing a trail here, John.
I should check into this beer, and it does have a 4.27 on Untapped, but that's only 21 ratings, so or 23 total, I guess. But yeah, so I expected it to be a farmhouse take on a Pilsner, and that's what it smells like. It's got kind of like a sharp, like, funk on the nose, almost. I don't know if it could be infected, if it's supposed to smell that way. Again, this is an 11-year-old beer, but it's got like a sharp, acidic nose on it. It's been sitting in my closet for that amount of time, so it's roughly 70-ish degrees in here on average. I'd say 65, 70. Maybe not ideal conditions, and this is probably way past its prime, but that's what I get in the nose. A little bit of like a funk too, malt character coming through. Kind of smells almost like, I don't know, like
it's like Spanish bombs
kind of thing. It's. I mean,
I did find a little bit of details on what's in it.
Okay.
It says Munich lager yeast that highlights the ingredients clearly and gives it a soft yet satisfying finish, with Canadian-grown Pilsner malt and Magnum, Liberty, and Tettnanger hops. 6.77% ABV. So that sounds lager-y. I mean, it's made of lager yeast, so by definition, it's a lager.
Basically, this tastes old. That's what I'm getting.
Yeah,
notes of age.
It's not showing any signs of it being a poorly packaged beer. It's just showing signs of being an old beer. It's cool to have as like a novelty. Like, I pulled it out and showed Yvonne. Like, The Clash is one of Yvonne's favorite bands, if not her favorite band of all time.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, it's The Clash. That's fucking cool." And I'm like, "Yeah, this beer's 11 years old." And she's like, "Why are you opening it?"
Spanish
like, it's the only U beer I have. I don't have anything else. So, yeah, I mean, there's not much to say about it. Again, I have a backup beer for my U beer that's not a U beer. It's an S beer that I will open. But this is exactly what I expected. For it being 11 years old and it being a 6.7% alcohol, basically Pilsner, I guess, or a lager, according to the description Jason found, it tastes like an 11-year-old lager. So don't cellar lagers. When I got this, I didn't know what it was. I thought it was something super special for some reason because I saw the label. I'm like, it's upright. It's something funky, like funky beers age well. Typically, that could be true, but I didn't know anything about it.
It seems like there's no wild cultures in it, so yeah, it would just be kind of an old lager at this point.
Yeah, it's an old.
There was a thread on
lager.
There was a thread on Reddit the other day. Our beer. Someone's like, "I found a 3-year-old beer in my golf bag. Is it okay to drink?" And everybody's like, "Yeah, it's beer, but it's not going to be good."
Yeah, you can drink it. Should you drink it? Probably not.
Maybe not.
It'll be fine. Like, try it. If it tastes good, finish it. Like, the worst case is it will taste bad. I think a big thing is people when they're asking that are like, is it going to make me sick? Did it go bad? And it's like,
yeah, okay.
Now, going bad for beer means tasting bad, not really that it's going to give you fucking food poisoning or whatever. Maybe maybe a bit of the bubble guts if it's got too much yeast in it or something.
Yeah, even beers that are infected, you can drink them, and technically they just turned into, a wild ale because they got some wild yeast in there, or bacteria or whatever. And
they're becoming vinegar or something else. It's not things that are going to make you sick. It's just things that may not taste so good.
You may not get sick, but you might get ill. Like, you might not. You're probably going to feel bad if there's some weird things happening in the liquid. Where getting sick, where it's like, did I drink something that's like going to make me have to go to the doctor and take medicine? That's not the case. You're just going to feel like you ate some, I don't know, spoiled food, I guess. I don't know. So that being said, my backup beer, it's an S beer, and it's not a unique beer. It's from Stone Brewing Company. It's their Enjoy By. This one's Enjoy By September 6th, 21. Greg said he might pick this beer up, and so I bought that in anticipation that he might.
I didn't see it.
So I bought it. This was bottled on the 27th of July. So they give their beers roughly, 6 weeks or something like that. They're Enjoy By beers.
What's the ABV on it? Still 8.8-ish or 8.5?
9.4.
Ooh, damn, that's up there. That's up there.
I'm gonna guess that it tastes like a semi-nondescript, hoppy but not particularly aromatic, bitter Stone IPA.
But 9.4?
When this beer had, like, I think it still does, maybe its own part of Stone's website, and it was. You had people were tracking it down. Like, it was hard to find. And when you found it, people were posting about it. Like, I found Enjoy By.
It was a big deal.
I think
it was the best thing Stone did in the last decade.
Exactly. You took the words right out of my mouth. I think it's one of the most hype things they did that paid off because the marketing was fantastic for it. It's only available for a limited time, and it's a fantastic beer. They had all three of those things made it like just a great campaign.
I really appreciate too that they really put this beer really helped put a focus on freshness and how it matters.
That's the whole point, right?
So I like that messaging. I really think it helps consumers realize that, like, you need to drink beer fresh, and we're so committed to that message, we're going to put it bigger than the brewery name on the label, which is great. I love that. And honestly, nobody else has had the balls to do anything like that, where they're just like,
day one dankness. Come on now.
Yeah, that's true. Elsagando did that with Day One Dankness. Lagunitas did for a second with Born Yesterday, and then they just started putting that beer in the market and letting it sit.
Yeah. Well, the thing with Enjoy By, right, is they typically, I think I've seen some places where it's, they're selling Enjoy By and it's 2 weeks old past the Enjoy By date. But Stone goes out of their way to say, okay, these didn't sell. We're taking these back. I'm sure they credit the store back for whatever, or however it works. I don't know how that works, but there's a valiant effort made on Stone's part to take those older Enjoy Bys off the shelf, which I appreciate.
Something notable too, looking at their website, they've turned it into a beer that relates to holidays or notable days. So they have, January 1st, so it's a New Year's thing. So you buy it as your like New Year's Eve beer. They do a 420 version of that beer. They do a July 4th one, and the 420 one is all psychedelic and weed themed. And then the July 4th one has American flag kind of stuff on it. And then this one is kind of an outlier. And then they do a Halloween one. So this September one,
September 6th.
That's the only one that's not
Labor
really
Day.
a holiday. Oh,
is it Labor Day?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Good call.
Well, then I kind of appreciate that more because they're sticking with like a loose structure for releasing the beer, and if it's something that's associated with, holidays where people tend to have like the day off or something, they can buy it as like a beer to celebrate with on their day off or during the holiday or whatever the case may be. I think that's smart on their part, and it gives them a good way to release the beer. Just instead of just picking a random date to Enjoy By, it's like Enjoy By this holiday, and it's also kind of like you remember when to enjoy it by because it's associated with an important date. So, and Jason,
I to enjoy this one by 420.
Oh, hi. I also bought an extra
Start that over,
Urban
Greg,
Roots,
because I gotta cut that in.
Yeah, so I also got a fourth beer. This is Smiles and Cries from Urban Roots, and it's a waxy boy. It's got wax on the top.
That is a fancy looking label. Pull that up so we can see that.
Oh, dude, it's a super fancy gold.
It looks like an old sheriff's badge,
and it's got it's like bourbon barrel aged, wee heavy Scotch ale, thrown on some cherries and blood oranges.
Okay.
So yeah,
A wee heavy on cherries. That kind of sounds good. I can see that.
Unfortunately, the beer is sort of nail polishy and not the best smelling version of a barrel aged beer that I've had in quite some time. That's unfortunate. I mean, it tastes okay, but do you ever have that, like when somebody puts something in a barrel for too long and it gets oxidized a little bit, and you get those like sort of like nail polish vibes to it? It's got a little bit of that. I don't get much of the cherry character or blood orange. It's just, I don't know. It's kind of a mess. That's unfortunate.
That is unfortunate because we just like hyped Urban Roots saying how they can do no wrong, right? And turns out they can. Everyone, nobody's perfect. That's what it comes down to.
It's a $15 bottle of beer too, so it's a drain pour, unfortunately.
I wonder how many breweries subscribe to that, theory that or the method that Bottle Logic does, where they brew a beer for a barrel. They like if you had the beer outside of the barrel, it wouldn't be as good as if it were inside of a barrel for, I don't know, 6 months or whatever.
Yeah, I don't think I've had many barrel-aged wee heavies before. I mean, I love wee heavy. There's just not a lot of them out there. If you can find them, Jesus Christ. Who's doing a barrel-aged version that I think this is the first one I've ever had.
I don't think a wee heavy is different, like too far off from like a,
it's like it's a Scotch
an
barley
old ale
wine
or something like that. Yeah,
it's in the same wheelhouse as a barley wine.
So I mean, it's
just
the
too
style
long in the barrel, I think.
Yeah, the style to me, I'm kind of indifferent about that. It's more about maybe, like you said, it was in the barrel for too long and it's picking up those negative qualities of the barrel. So
yeah, it just got a little oxidized. That's a bummer.
Well, that's disappointing. Going back to my Stone beer, the Enjoy by September 6th, 2021, or Labor Day. It's very good. Jason, I know you want to bust balls on Stone, and let me guess, it smells and tastes like a typical Stone. No, it's actually super thick, dank nose.
We just got a C&D for putting that beer label up here because it's got the word Stone, and we're not licensed to use it.
Of course. But yeah, just really heavy, like resinous, like syrupy hop nose, like just really thick and kind of, you gotta, it's I'm doing this with my fingers kind of thing, where it's like if you're handling like weeds or something like milkweeds and like the stickiness gets on your fingers, that's what the nose smells like to me. It smells fantastic. This beer is still to this day a pickup. I think it's definitely worth buying.
9.4 though, Jesus Christ.
Go big or go home, right? I mean, it's a beer that comes out 6 times a year, I guess, is what it sounds like. 5 or 6 times a year. 4 times.
I mean, at 9.4, even if it goes past the Enjoy by date, you're going to get a barley wine in 6 months. So, bonus.
Well,
yeah, I don't know. I mean, like it was like a year and a half ago that Stone had a string of mediocre beers and shitty behaviors that I was like, I'm going to spend my money elsewhere, and I haven't gone wrong with that really. I think we bought that one fucking wheat beer they got or whatever, and that was just, it tasted like Blue Moon but more expensive. So then I'm like, just I can go ahead and drink beer that isn't Stone.
Was it Dayfall, that beer?
No idea.
Yeah, I believe so.
It was Dayfall.
Yeah, it's just
Buena Vista is okay.
Sure, they make lots of okay beer. So does a lot of other breweries that aren't suing smaller breweries for using the word Stone.
Right. Has that been resolved yet?
I don't care. I mean, which one?
No idea.
Yeah, that's true.
The Keystone one or the Sawstone one?
Yeah. I think since then, Stone has sent us one beer. I don't know, Greg, you're on a different plateau or a different level with Stone than we are.
I get like totally random beers, and they don't seem to be as fresh as what I can buy at the local just 7-Eleven.
That's weird.
So I'm so confused why they send them to me, because I'm like, yeah, send me whatever you got, but I'm not going to write an article or something about the beer that sat. It seemed like, I don't know, they're just sending old stuff to me.
They're going to start sending like dead rodents.
I'm like, all right, thanks for this Buena Vista.
Yeah, because they responded to our show where Jason called them out, and they were fine. It was a fine
They
response,
said heard.
but
they heard it.
Yeah, and I walked away from that email thinking, well, no more Stone beer for 4 brewers, which is fine. Like, why would you send beer to people that
totally
are criticizing you every time they talk about you? Yeah. So, but I will say, Enjoy By is still a great beer.
9.4,
and of course, what
though.
Jason.
9.4.
You're so hung up on that. It's a double IPA. Like, what do you want?
That's almost triple. It's
okay.
0.06 close.
Yeah,
it's
I don't like
0.06
IPAs that are above 9% generally.
Their 25th anniversary beer is a triple IPA. So,
like, why is John?
I feel like that's. I feel like.
Oh,
I feel like that is going to be a disaster.
Sitting on the nightstand.
It'll be fine. Like they're not making bad beer. I feel like they're just making beer without a character. Like you never can kind of go, like you can't figure out what they're going for. It's just kind of like, yeah, it's got kind of hops, and it's well made and clean, and
they're trying to like dip in on their nostalgia, and it's like, man, that ship has sailed a long time ago. I don't want like all those old ass double IPA, like extra hoppy, bitter ass shit.
They need to reinvent themselves. Yeah, I feel like they're in a tough spot with, like, they already changed recipes for a lot of their flagships, and those didn't go over well. I mean, I don't know. I don't see their numbers. Maybe they did go over well, but as far as I'm concerned, I didn't like the recipe changes. I buy their beer as like, well, there's nothing else here, and if I want to support craft beer, I guess I'll buy Stone. Whatever that means at this point with Stone. But
about like the last 5 Stone IPAs that you had that weren't their core beers, or I don't even know what they consider their core beers anymore, but like all the random weird fruit added Stone beers that come out, how many of them did you want to buy again?
Yeah.
It's like right now, Delicious IPA, Tangerine Express, Stone Hazy, Fear Movie Lions, Neverending Haze, Scorpion Bowl.
Neverending Haze.
All of those beers I would consider fine. They're all fine. Yeah. These are going to be my best option at a bad place. And
that's perfectly illustrated. Exactly.
But that is, I don't think that's a good
and
place.
It's sad that that's where Stone's at. Like,
yeah,
this beer is the best of the lowest common denominator beers.
It's kind of like where Sam Adams was 10 years ago, where it's like, well, this is going to be better than nothing kind of beer, but
it's Costco beer.
Yeah, it's become very much a commodity and not anything special. The product isn't, and we're like, big breweries can make special beer. And I still feel like I get beer from Firestone or Sierra Nevada that's special. And
dude, I
don't get that from Stone.
Yeah, I was looking at Firestone Walker and how they've handled their barrel program, and they had like this, the $500 like exclusive club or whatever.
Right.
And some of those beers, I look at them, I'm like, man, I really wish I had that, because that sounds amazing. So I'm like, next year.
They just did that one that was aged in Pappy Van Winkle barrels, right?
Yeah, they got multiple Pappy barrels because of their relationships in the business. Like that, you don't get that anywhere. And the beers, you've had Parabola. Parabola is one of the most fantastic imperial stouts ever made.
But again, their club was what, 6?
Fight me on it.
Other people know that if they try to work with Stone and then they hear that you got stoned one time, they're going to give you a C&D.
I mean, $600. You get glassware and the bottles with every shipment.
That's kind of cool.
And I'm like, and they're super unique glass. I don't know, man. Fight me on that. That sounds really good.
Like Stone has become so much a grocery store brand. It's like, do they do anything special?
Well, that's the thing. When your brewery gets big enough, that's what you aspire to, right?
Yeah, but again, I think Firestone still does stuff that's special. Like the other big regionals still have a special side. And if I'm looking at these special releases for Stone, and it's like Vengeful Spirit IPA and re-releasing Sublimely Self-Righteous and F+B IPA, and it's just like, yeah.
But I mean, Firestone has the Vintage series, where they have an actual barrel master who's figured out like what are the best barrels and what are the best beers to come out of that. And then they have the Barrel Works, which Sour Jim runs, and like, how many other breweries have that like resource of breweries and talent?
I take it back. Stone does have Buena Vita hard seltzer now, so they've got that to really differentiate them.
That's a whole other thing too. I was at the last Mickler Running Club thing that I did at the Brickwood with Mickler Running Club Inland Empire. That came up, and they're like, "What is the theming for their seltzers?" I'm like, "Well, they're going off the Buena Vesa kind of thing, where it's like Mexican inspired because they're so close to Mexico, but it's San Diego, and like
Mexico doesn't make seltzers."
Again,
also they're like watermelon, lime, and
this was part of the discussion. They're like, what does that even mean? I'm like, I don't know. All I know is that the Buena Vesa branding is so different from the Stone branding. I think they're leaning into it to
it's that kind of Day of the Dead inspired art.
And I like Buena Vesa. I think it's a great beer, and I like that branding, and I don't blame them for leaning into that for their seltzers, because it's like it's so different from what Stone normally does. But people just are, again, like when I had this talk with my friends in the club, they're like, well, but I don't understand like the tie-in with Buena Vesa. I'm like, neither do I. Like, what does seltzer have to do with Buena Vesa? I don't know.
And that's the branding thing. I think it's really just because they've got a PR team making these decisions, and not like they just have no identity anymore. They've become such a corporate brand that they don't really have an identity anymore, except for making mediocre IPA.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, I still want to go to Stone in Escondido and have a beer and have some food.
I would hope it's as good as I remember. I haven't been there about 3 or 4 years.
I don't know. Chili. They fired Chili a while ago, so who knows how it looks.
And I mean, they also used to have, Bill running a whole beer program, right? Like, do they still have a dope beer list? I don't know. Or do they just have whatever is convenient because they just had the PR guy pick their beer list? Like, who the fuck knows?
Who knows?
Yeah, as far as I know, Bill's protege, I forgot his name. I feel bad for forgetting his name too. He did stay behind, and he learned from Bill how to run that beer list, and he has the same contacts and stuff. So I'm assuming he's still there. But even recently, we had a listener hit us up on Instagram saying, "Hey, I'm going to San Diego. First place I'm going to Stone Brewing Company. Where do I go from there?" And I'm like, "Cool, go to Stone Brewing Company. Have fun. I think the Bistro is a great spot. They still make great food. They have great beer. I mean, even though we're being highly critical of Stone's not the flagship, but their distro beers, like it's still fun to go there and experience Stone. I think it's a great spot to go to. But then I'm like, you can go to there's other spots, like of course Lost Abbey is right there, and Dr. Bill's Brewery Wild Barrel is down the street.
Dude, Haney, hello.
Maybe go a little further south to North Park, and you can hit up some really cool spots, because a lot of breweries. They aren't in North Park, but they have tasting rooms, and you can experience a lot of great San Diego beer in North Park.
Society.
But my point is, like, Stone is still like a touchstone for a lot of beer geeks, because it is, the Bistro is a great spot to visit. It's a great brewery to take a tour through, and and we get into like the geekiness behind it and like the behind the scenes stuff, and that's fine, but I don't know how to end this. The Enjoy By series, though, as far as I can tell, is still holding strong. Whoever's in charge of that is still doing a good job.
9-4.
It's 9-4.
So the Escondido Stones draft list is almost all Stone beers at this point. They have a handful of others. They have a couple Russian River beers. They have a couple other local San Diego beers. Their bottle list is gone. They had a pretty intensely good bottle list. They have a bottle list now. You can get old Whoop Stout, old Fyodor, old Saison du Boeuf, Boochcraft, wow, 50-50 bottle, Refuge, and a couple Wandering Angus ciders. That is their bottle list now.
Jesus Christ. So Saison du Boeuf was the first beer I had where I was like, what the fuck is this? And I dumped it. It was so gross.
Yeah, beer is whack. Don't you have like the giant new one, John?
Dude, I have all 12 of those Germany beers.
Dude, we got to drink those, man.
let's just, let's set a date and just do it. Like,
we'll
pour we'll pour like 3 ounces of each, and I'll just toss the rest because they look good
we're gonna do chugs, dude.
in my studio, like on the shelf. It looks really pretty, but they're not getting any better.
They look just as pretty empty.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Let's just drink 3 ounces of each, like,
all right,
and plow through them. And that way we tried them. They're done. Like Stoney's, they don't even own that German brewery anymore. Like, so Jason, I took care of that comment in Twitch. I blocked
Okay,
him,
cool.
So.
I wasn't the one to put it up.
Oh, okay, Greg. Whoever did.
I blame Greg.
I did. Yeah, I think we both did at the same time.
Thanks, funny. Greg. You just helped him out.
Want to become famous? I do.
Anyway,
Stone Brewing aside,
yeah,
I think I had a pretty good run of beers, except for the Untitled Art.
Mine were all fabulous. Except for the
otherwise, I mean, I had 2 Pilsners and a mixed culture sour, so really right in my wheelhouse.
I really enjoyed the Enjoy By, but I think the winner was the Society Light. Like, great beer. I'm gonna buy that again. It's cheap, it's good, and I dig the label artwork.
Yeah, the True exceeded my expectations. That was a really, really good beer.
Cool.
Just super drinkable. And honestly, I really love that Boss Effects pedal label. It's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I dig it too. Like, that's right in my wheelhouse. Yeah. Greg, favorite of the STU beers.
Topa. Dude, Topa. Rocking it, dude.
Topa.
Talk about a just a rad hoppy Pilsner. And for somebody who hasn't really dug into their brand, this makes you want to drink more. So well done. Super tight. Makes you want to get a moped too. With Sasha Grey in the back.
Ciao.
You just ride around Anaheim on a moped, dude.
Dude, there's so many breweries around here. I've talked about just buying an electric scooter just to hop around to breweries.
Greg, it makes total sense. The show's over, by the way. It makes total sense that you stumbled upon a totally clean Twitch stream of Sasha Grey touring Italy. Like, dude, it makes so much sense.
She is a delight. She is a delight. There's
indeed. I see what you're saying. Yes. You enjoyed the stream.
100%. I was like, I'm dialed in. Like, she's like, yeah, I'm just gonna walk over to the Duomo, and after that, we're gonna get some cappuccino. I was like, dude, this is an amazing stream. So where do I know her from?
She did a bunch of legit acting stuff too.
And she did a trance band at some point. She released music. She has books out.
She's very talented.
This girl, yeah. And she's not like a dumbass. She's very intelligent and funny.
I'm not calling her stupid.
I mean, you never know about like porn people.
So like IMDb does.
Wait, she does porn?
Sasha Grey, yeah.
IMDb does include some porn stuff in there. So like if you look up Sasha Grey, it's like, all right, regular stuff. Like did a voice on a TV show. She's in Saints Row. She did a couple movies, whatever. She's in Entourage. And then you like get back to around 2010, and then it's like Ass Eaters Unanimous 19. Face Invaders 4. The King of Coochie 4.
The King of Coochie, wow.
Seinfeld, a Triple X parody.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Trying to find the episode. There was an episode we did at Stone for New Brew Thursday where, oh God, let me look in the description here. There's no description. Nope, that's not it. Was it on Master Pairings? I'm gonna find it. $2014. It was, yeah.
All right, stopping my recording.
I made that song. Like, I completely made that song myself in GarageBand in whatever 20 or 2009, 8, whatever. My band played the song live in Japan, and Steven was there.
Made in Japan.
I played it as like a, kind of like a Easter egg for Steve, and he didn't even notice it. Like, we played this entire New Brew Thursday song live for Steve, and I'm like, "Did you like the NBT song?" He's like, "What?" I'm like, "You didn't hear it?" Like, we practiced it like 10 times. Like, yeah, there was an episode where a bottle blew up. Hey,
did you guys watch Suicide Squad?
I did.
No.
Did we talk about it already?
I don't think so.
Watch anything.
Oh, it's good. Suicide Squad's really good.
Is it good?
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
Okay, cool.
And the DC movies are fucking trash in my opinion, but they got James Gunn, and he's actually a really good director. So it's really fun and a good, enjoyable film all the way through.
Cool. I've been playing Destiny 2, and it's actually been fun.
I am. Oh shit! We're on stream. I was like, if I talk too much about playing that Battlefield playtest, fucking EA's gonna fuck me in the butt.
They're gonna come down on you.
That's right. Gonna hammer me. No, I'm pretty optimistic after playing it today. I was like, okay, I can see like what they're going for. I hope they fix the UI.
I'm sure. Like, I think
it's really hard to see. Like, it's hard to see the friendly, like the little dots that signify your team. I'm constantly like seeing a guy shooting at them and being like, oh, it's a friendly.
Yeah, they'll balance that out. It's a technical play test. I think they wanted to iron out, like, does 128 players work?
Yeah, it seemed like it wasn't
yesterday.
It seemed like their servers were fucking crushing under the weight, but today they were running a lot better.
You're speaking of Potato,
he's uploading his audio. That's why.
Oh, okay.
This happened last time too.
I'm uploading my audio.
You have two potatoes. You're rubbing them together really fast.
Boop. All right, homies. I'm going to bounce.
Yo.
Till the next episode.
All right, Jason. To everyone in the stream, thank you for hanging out. And we will see you guys next week. I guess we're doing STU VWX beers.
Yeah. I'm not doing Brewery X.
Here, I think we should do VWX, Y, and Z. And then we can get whatever 4 out of that. Yeah, because otherwise we have 2 extra alphabets left over, and X is going to be impossible. And like Greg said, I don't want to do Brewery X.
VW. Okay, I'm down for that. I already have a Z beer. I have a Z beer that's not a Z brewery, but it's a Z beer from Indy.
Okay, I got a Z.
Yeah, we're going to have to do beer names for sure.
Yeah. I bought it specifically for Z, and it's been sitting in my cooler waiting for the Z show. So if you want to lump them all into next week's show, that's fine with me. Yeah.
The rest of the alphabet. We're drinking alphabetically.
Cool.
As always, till next time, drink alphabetically.